Hi guys, I'm Friederike, I'm from Gnosis. I'm the COO at Gnosis, the company, and someone at the DAO. You may know Gnosis from the past 8 years in this space. We have built lots of stuff over the years, starting with prediction market platforms, Gnosis multisig, Gnosis safe, Gnosis auction, CowSwap, DutchX, yeah, lots of stuff. And now we're doing something new, Gnosis Chain. So let me tell you about why we're doing this and what exactly it is. So Gnosis Chain actually launched in 2018 as xDai. It's got a proof of authority consensus with a dual token model. So that means there is a staking token, this token stake, and the xDai, which is the fee token. And sometime last year, there was a proposal in both the Gnosis DAO and the xDai forum to actually do a token merger between Gnosis and xDai. And the proposal passed on both forums, so this actually went ahead. And people who held stake could swap their stake for GNO tokens at a fixed rate. xDai was renamed to Gnosis Chain, and the Gnosis Beacon chain was launched, which is a proof-of-stake chain, similar to the Ethereum Beacon chain. This was at the end of last year. I think Gnosis Beacon chain launched in November. Now we're at more than 100,000 validators, and we are set to actually complete the merge before the Ethereum merge. The Ethereum merge is now penciled in for September 19th, so we hope to be doing our merge the week before that. And Gnosis Chain sees itself very much as an extension of Ethereum. So it's not a competitor, it's a companion in the sense that apps that used to live on Ethereum and now no longer can because it's no longer economically viable may find a new home on Gnosis Chain. I was going to start off with a problem statement. What are we solving? And I'm leaving that for later, because when I actually reviewed the slides before the talk, I actually went onto a rant, just because the problem is so large. So let me review the technical infrastructure first, and then go into the problem statement just after. So when looking at layer 1 blockchains, I always find it tremendously useful to actually think of them in the blockchain trilemma framework, right? Because it tells you where the architecture is making trade-offs and what the blockchain emphasizes. So as I am sure most of you, all of you know, is the blockchain trilemma that's on this slide. You see security, scalability, and decentralization on each of the edges, and the dilemma is pick 2, right? You can never have 3. So how blockchains are organized is actually reflected really well in how they actually perform in each of these dimensions. So let me go to the dimensions first in which we shine. Decentralization. So it's our goal to actually be the third most decentralized chain. So if you actually look at the stakers.info infographic on the right-hand side, you can see that Gnosis Beacon Chain has 100,000 stakers. That's a quarter of the Ethereum number. And as I said, this has been since last November. So how did we actually get there? We actually tried to make the barrier to entry as low as possible. for validators. So the minimum stake is 1 GNO. That's currently around $150. The market is pumping, so it might be 160 now. The technical setup is fairly easy. If you want to set up your own validator, you need a computer that is usually on, probably stationary somewhere, and probably around an hour or so of your time, even if you're non-technical. So anyone can set up a validator. Because we always intended to have lots of non-professional stakers, we have non-punitive uptime requirements. So basically, if your node goes down, yeah, it happens, whatever, you're not being punished for this. And to further extend our reach, we went on a collaboration spree with Dapnode and Avado. I don't know whether you actually know these companies. They make little validator boxes that basically you plug into your own internet and power, and they just work. It's pretty magic. So you can actually validate Ethereum, Gnosis, many other chains on these validators. So there's a slight downside to having a larger proportion of hobbyist stakers. You miss more blocks, and this is quite apparent here. So basically, if you look at the top left graph, you can see that on Gnosis Chain, around 10 to 15% of blocks are missed, and on the Ethereum Beacon Chain, don't know whether you can see it. You actually have to zoom in quite a bit. It's less than 1%. So the question is, does this have any bad consequences? Probably not really at that level. So you lose a little bit of bandwidth, but that's about it. So basically losing 10 to 15% of blocks is not that big a price to pay for actually having a very decentralized validator set. Okay, so back to the blockchain trilemma. Let's look at the second edge, security. Okay, so basically if you look at security in proof-of-stake networks, you're always worried about 51% attacks, right? So there's two attack vectors. One is the token price. So if you buy up 51% of the token, you're doomed, right? I mean, so basically then that network is taken over by, you know, the person or the entity that holds 51%, and if it goes down, it goes down. The other vector is actually gaining control over a staker or validator that together have 51% of the validating power, right? So I put the Etherscan graphic here of depositors to the ETH2 contracts. You can actually see, so ignore the blue one. That's others. But if you actually look at the big ones on the left-hand side, the big red one is Lido, then the green one is Kraken, the light blue one is Binance, then there's Bitcoin Swiss, Stake.us, Stakefish, and so on. So if you actually manage to compromise several of the largest validators, you can also take over control of the network. Obviously, I mean, each of these, I mean, even on Ethereum, this is kind of seen as a problem. And if you go to ETH Research or Crypto Twitter, people will be talking about this and whether the liquid staking with Lido and so on should be somehow reduced or whether it should self-regulate. However that may be, I am sure that most of these stakers, all of the big stakers, have really good OPSEC. So actually compromising them is probably really hard, hopefully impossible. So for Ethereum it may not be that big a problem, but obviously if you have lots of less professional stakers, it's even more important to actually have a decentralized network. And by having a very decentralized validator set, you at least preclude the attack vector of capturing validators worth 51% in total. There's one caveat. So currently on Gnosis Chain there are no trustless bridges, but this is an interim state of affairs. You thinking back over the first half of this year, there have been a number of notable bridge hacks, and these usually had to do with trusted bridges. So basically glorified multisigs in a way. Obviously, we all know we need to move away from them. There has been a proposal to Gnosis DAO, Gnosis Improvement Proposal 57 by the 0x Park team to build the specification for a SNARK-enabled bridge, so basically that leverages a ZK Lite client on Gnosis Beacon Chain and a ZK Lite client on Ethereum, and that inherits the security from the consensus algorithm. So basically you are as secure as the network. It's coming soon, hopefully in like 2 months or so. Okay, so let's go to the last node. This is the node that is a little bit, where we're making many of the same choices as Ethereum. So if you look at Ethereum, so basically scalability is its #1 problem right now, right? So, and we have championed pushing the efficiency frontier on EVM networks for many years. So you may remember the Ethereum 1.x efforts with TurboGeth, now called Aragon, and so on. We've funded, we've been the largest funder for Aragon after the Ethereum Foundation, pre-Gnosis DAO and after Gnosis DAO. So what that actually does, TurboGeth optimizes the data structure of the state. So basically, if you look at the table on the right-hand side, you can see the archive node size on the right-hand side for the client on the left-hand side. You can see that Geth has 6 terabytes, Open Ethereum 6 terabytes, Nethermind's 5 terabytes, and so on, Aragon 1 terabyte. Why is this so? Because the state is optimized for efficiency. And I think this is something that doesn't get talked about enough in this ecosystem, that the fact that what's actually rate limiting is the computation itself. So if you ask why can't we just increase the block size limit by a factor of 10 or so, the simple reason is because this cannot be computed because the state is so large. So Aragon does something about the state bloat. So basically you make good a little bit. So basically you can push the block size limit from 30 million to probably 100 million. And Nethermind, another Gnosis 2 and Ethereum 2 client, will implement the same optimized data structure. This also recently passed through Gnosis DAO as GIP 47. And then there's a slightly shorter block time on Gnosis Chain compared to Ethereum, so 5 seconds versus 12 seconds. So all in all, that buys you around a factor of 8 with respect to Ethereum. You lose a little bit of that because of hobbyist validators, as I said, 15% or so. So maybe it buys you a factor of 6 or so, 6 or 7. So this is nice, but it's nowhere near sufficient for the scaling requirements that we need. So basically, Gnosis Chain takes the exact same approach to scalability as Ethereum. So you push dapps to layer 2s on Gnosis Chain. Okay, so now that we've kind of understood where Gnosis Chain is in terms of technology, let me give you the problem statement. The problem statement is this. Lots of things are going wrong. I mean, if you look at the state the world is currently in and what we're doing about it, we're very good at ignoring problems, right? I mean, wealth inequality, income inequality, child poverty are up. Intergenerational income mobility is down. Energy, food security are down. climate change. Probably don't even need to get started. It's just after 6 here in Paris, and the outside temperature is 40 degrees Celsius in July. So yeah, I mean, we have a big problem. We're also killing the planet in other ways, right? So basically, we're currently way into the 6th mass extinction. So obviously, this started way back when we started killing mammoths and other big animals whose survival tactic was, be too big to be prey and reproduce slowly. Clearly, this didn't really work well with the arrival of humans, but we never really stopped. So basically, we're killing animal species at an enormous rate. There's also other things going on. So Ukraine, China, the US may be on the brink of a civil war, who knows? So yeah, lots of things are broken. And the tragic thing really is that lots of these things we actually, in principle, would know how to solve. So climate change, no, I mean, in practice, it's not that simple, but in theory, you solve it by taking carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. That's it. And there's different ways of doing it. There's books about this, but somehow we still cannot coordinate as a society to actually get that done, and that is preposterous. I mean, clearly the consequences to each and every one of us are going to be horrendous. We should be able to coordinate at, some sort of reasonable cost. Rising inequality. Clearly, we don't have a resources problem. We have a distribution problem. Somehow, we don't get this done. Mass extinctions, probably not all that easy. Probably should stop killing the rainforest and polluting rivers and so on. But I'm not an expert, so there's also other problems where we may have to resort to the current solutions. So, TikTok dances to help Ukraine and so on. So what's the blocker? Why aren't we getting our shit together? Do people not care? Or is this simply a coordination problem? So somehow we have this enormously complex state apparatus times 180 countries, and somehow we still can't manage to solve humanity's most pressing problems. So let's find out. So basically, what we really want to do is we want to provide tools for DAOs. So tools to help humanity organize at large scales, novel ways, to act against these problems that we're facing. We're also trying to make a universal basic income happen. So this is a really large, it's a big proposition, right? And I don't know whether DAOs can fix all our problems. I don't know. But I think currently it's a shot. It's maybe a good shot. So I think we absolutely need to try. And we are building a chain that is optimized for DAOs. And a UBI, it's a general purpose chain. We'll get to who lives on it in a bit. Let me just talk about the implicit assumptions we're making here for a second. So our first assumption is that the EVM effects are strong. So basically, if you look at the developer mindset, mindshare that's around the EVM, it's huge. It doesn't really compare to other chains. Then DAOs can make a difference. And in order to actually make a UBI work on a worldwide scale, you actually need to use decentralized technology. Those are kind of our implicit assumptions. So, who's on Gnosis Chain today? 1,500 plus DAOs. We've also built extensive DAO tooling, Gnosis Guild. If you haven't checked it out, it's called Zodiac, check it out. Circles UBI and Proof of Humanity both live on Gnosis Chain. Social apps like PoApp, Giveth, CLR Fund. Games like Dark Forest and Cometh. privacy, so Tornado Cash Nova lives on the Gnosis chain, Claros on Chainlink, and a full set of finance primitives, so AMM and non-AMM DEXs, lending markets, derivatives, 1-inch curve, CowSwap, Uniswap, including V3, Sushi, and so on. So what's up next? So first up is the merge. We're targeting the week before the Ethereum merge. What are our current focuses? The first one is client diversity. So basically we have, Aragon and Nethermind have dedicated teams working on Gnosis Chain clients. We have commitments from Geth, Prism, Lighthouse, and Teku to make their clients compatible with Gnosis Chain. Having more clients makes for a more resilient network. You all know this. And we want to stay as close to Ethereum to allow maximum compatibility, to kind of allow passing back and forth depending on use case as much as possible. There are notable exceptions where we want to implement things that Ethereum is not implementing or not yet implementing. One is account abstraction. So if you look at the user experience that we currently have on Ethereum, EOAs are a big problem. So basically, the seed phrase, this is not something that we can bring to the next millions of users, right? So what we want to encourage is the use of smart contract accounts. So EIP 4337, that is under active discussion in the Ethereum community or similar, leveraging a Gnosis Safe as an account standard. This would actually buy you many things. First thing is flexible onboarding of users, because they can later exchange their keys for that smart contract wallet, right? You can have social recovery in various flavors. You can have trusted guardians. You can have recovery through relationships. You can even have recovery by default. So basically, if you say, this is my account and I've lost the keys, you can stake an amount, maybe like 20% of what's on the account to regain it. And if no one contests this within, say, 3 months, you get the right to reset the keys. Otherwise, you forfeit your stake. All of this is possible with smart contract accounts. Batching for user experience, gases, transactions, and so on. So to us, basically, if this is something that we want to bring to the next millions of users, this is a no-brainer. We're talking about other things as well. So things like trying out single slot finality. This is also a topic under active discussion in the Ethereum community, or privacy built into bridges. Where to find out more? Come to the Gnosis DAO forum, forum.gnosis.io. There's dev docs, there's an ecosystem website, chain stats, and a tutorial how to become a validator. We're also hiring, so if you're interested in co-development in bridges, in validators, or similar, come find me after the talk. Cool. Thank you, guys. And I see I have 1 minute and 9 seconds left. So if there are questions, I'm happy to take them.
Hi. Yes, this is really interesting to align with the technology and the roadmap of Ethereum. How long-term do you see that kind of tracking? Is that something just initially, or is that a goal to try to stay, a little ahead or as compatible as possible with Ethereum 2 over the longer term?
Yeah, in the foreseeable future, we want to stay compatible with Ethereum. Obviously, I mean, we're not maximalists, but we think Ethereum has the potential to become the global settlement layer, and it will need like a larger, basically the volume of transactions that can happen on Ethereum proper are not large enough, and we see ourselves as like the pool that kind of catches transactions that for some reason don't make it into Ethereum. So basically, yeah, we do see ourselves long time aligned with Ethereum.
Okay, but the security domain will be different, right? It will still be the different set of Gnosis, the Gnosis validators. There won't be any kind of, roll-up style security fallback.
No, not at the moment. So basically, there's no plans to become an actual layer 2 on Ethereum. So basically, it's kind of currently more like a surrounding layer.
Yeah.
We've also thought about kind of becoming an actual layer 2. Obviously, this would need some restructuring of the architecture, and it's not. It could happen. It's not precluded.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Friederike. Simple question, how do you incentivize builders to build on Gnosis Chain?
This is a good question. So we don't do a lot of the things that many of the other chains do. So basically, we think you should build on Gnosis Chain because it's a nice place. we have a fund, so you can apply for a grant or some sort of cash injection. But we don't have we don't have the bags of other layer 1s. So it's more of a values proposition.